Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Snap Take. This is As Snap, first time on the channel. Hopefully, I'll be back again covering for Glazer while he's in the UK for the week. Today, we'll be discussing two separate decks. The first deck you can see on the screen is a negative Affinity deck. But before we get into that and get into a deck breakdown, please subscribe to this channel. What Glazer does on this channel is a really good job of trying to bring you the new meta decks before they've even hit the meta, so you can get that head start against everyone else to try to play, and you can get that, like I said, get that head start to get to Infinity for the first time, or just get to Infinity again, get those Infinity borders from Conquest, get those Infinity tickets, and just get those extra cubes. Do what you want to do in the game, and that's win. And yeah, just make sure you hit your goals. But yeah, if you, like I said, please subscribe to this channel, and also if you enjoyed this video, please go over to my channel, which will be in the description. I'll leave a comment on this video. As Snap, we do daily Marvel Snap content, gameplay, the lots, and the two decks you see in this video, I'm going to be doing gameplay on my channel for them. So enough of me talking. Let's get into a deck breakdown and go through each card from this deck. So as we can see with this negative Infinity deck, if you're not familiar with what a negative deck is, I'll give you a very quick breakdown as to what the card does. So you have Mr. Negative. Swap the power and cost of all your cards in your deck. So you want to get this down as early as you can. So the best way that you're going to be doing that is by having Zabu down on round 2 and then getting Mr. Negative down on round 3, so you can just maximize his ability to hit as many cards as you can in your deck. And the cards that you're really going to be looking for hitting are that of Iron Man, because Iron Man goes from a 5-0 to a 0-5. You've got a free card which can double the power of the power in that location, and he now has 5 power. So just playing him in his lane by himself is 10. Play him in a lane with Yondu, that's 14. So you're looking to hit Iron Man, 100%. You're also looking to hit Ironheart, 0-3. Mystique, 0-3. Copy the ongoing ability of the last card you played. Arnhem Zola, 0-6. So you got a 6 cost that can just destroy your other cards and play them in a different location. Crazy. And you're trying to hit Null, 0-6, who gets the combined power of all the cards destroyed in this game. So you're probably starting to get a little bit of like a feel of how this deck's going to work. So starting off with Yondu. Yondu is just a great 1-cost card, can destroy the top card of your opponent's deck. This is also got the synergy with Null, because let's say you have Null in your hand early, you use Yondu, hit one of their 6 costs, you're probably going to get a decent amount of power unless you hit their Null or Zola. So yeah, you can easily start to build up the power from Yondu straight away. Zabu, as I said, your 4 cards cost 1 less. We have a couple in this deck. We obviously have Mr. Negative, who you want to get down as soon as possible. You also have Super Skrull, and you have Shang-Chi. So you just have them cards there just for whatever you want to play final round, because you're not always going to hit your best cards like Mystique and everyone. So you might actually final round decide to Mystique first to copy whatever the card you played earlier, if you've managed to hit a 0-5 Iron Man, and then you can play Shang-Chi like in another lane and destroy any high powered cards they have. Or if you don't have Prio, you're going to take a guess as to where they're going to play, like an educated guess, and you'd play Shang-Chi in that lane. Moving on, as I said, you got Ironheart. It's a 3-0, and you're looking for that Mr. Negative, getting it as a 0-3. Great. It's a great card just to give your other cards power. It could work really well with hitting Iron Man and just boosting Iron Man in that lane to just get your power even more. Mystique, as I said, could be an incredible 0-3 if you hit it. Works really well with Iron Man or Null final round, because let's say, for example, you're playing against a Galactus deck. They've Galactus, you've gone into the final round, and you've hit your Null and Mystique. You'll win. If they're playing Null and they're playing Death, you can play your Null and Mystique that final round and you win, because obviously you've got 2 of Null's power. Yeah, I mean, imagine you had Mystique, Iron Man and Null in your hand. That'd be a crazy final round to counter Galactus. But it's just so you have that ability to try and potentially counter Galactus. Especially with if you was able to get a 0-6 Null and an Iron Man. or vice versa, a 0/5 Iron Man with a null. That should definitely secure you the win. Hopefully against the Galactus deck, if they're playing null. If they're not, then it's a bit tricky. And the other card that you'll be using against the Galactus deck is Super Scroll. However, you're not necessarily guaranteed to win with just Super Scroll, even though it's a really good card. You would prefer to have some like other high powered cards in that side, so potentially 4/2 Super Scroll with a 0/5 Iron Man. You just have to see what happens. A Super Scroll with your own null, again, that's like doubling up a null's power, and that should win you the lane. Magic is in this deck so that you can get an extra round, just so you can draw that extra card, which has hopefully been hit by Mr. Negative. Obviously, if you're in this deck, if you get to like round 3, round 4, you're not hit Mr. Negative, then you want to be thinking about, if they snap early, about just taking an easy retreat, because it's not the end of the world. You're only going to lose 1 cube, especially in Conquest. Taking those 1 cube losses are vital to gaining information, gaining that intel on your opponent. So yeah, just bear that in mind. You really wanted to play, obviously it is a big Mr. Negative heavy deck, so if you're not drawing him, don't worry, just leave it. So yeah, as I was saying, Magic is just so you can draw those extra cards hit by Mr. Negative, just so you can maximize the power across the board. And again, it works perfectly with Crystal. Each player draws a card, so just you could whack that down, and just you're hoping you get one of your 0/5, 0/6, 0/3 cards that's been hit by Mr. Negative again. Mr. Negative, we've already gone over him. He does what he says on the tin. Super Scroll, again, I've also gone over him, or them. Has the ongoing effect of all enemy cards. Great counter, because a lot of ongoing decks at the moment. And as I said, it could be a good counter for Galactus, because if you were able to play that and a 0/6 null fan around, you're laughing. Shang-Chi, I mean, Shang-Chi is pretty much in the majority of the decks in this game. He is a very, very solid tech card, where you destroy all your enemies' 9 costs, and it doesn't destroy the cards on your own side, which I saw some people trying to push for. But no, Shang-Chi works as he does. Really solid card to have in this deck, just to try and get rid of any of those high-powered cards in your opponent's deck. Iron Man, as I said, you're hoping to hit it with 0/5. If you don't, Iron Man's still a solid card to try and play, because you can whack that down into a lane round turn 5, and then turn 6 you could then whack Mystique down, and potentially Ironheart, Crystal, or if you already got Zabu down, Super Scroll as well. So yeah, it's a pretty good card to hit. Zola is also another solid card. A great line you could have is potential like a 0/5 Iron Man, hit it with a Zola, add 2 Iron Mans to other lanes, and then you could then go into null. So it just depends on what you hit. The cards you're destroying with their power is just going to maximize your null, and you can't complain about that, because as I said, having null is a great counter for a lot of destroy decks that's going on at the moment, but it's also a good counter for Galactus as well, if you compare it with another card. Because you can imagine, if your opponent's playing Galactus, they've got priority in that lane already, so you're already losing that lane, and there's always a good chance they play null and death together. So yeah, I mean, it's quite unlucky. If they have prior, obviously you've got Shang-Chi to try and destroy them both, but if you don't, then it's kind of tough. So yeah, that is this negative Infinity deck. Let's move on to the next one. So moving on to the next deck, we've got this Bowie Thanos Destroy deck. I am a massive fan of Thanos Destroy decks, and I'm gonna break down this deck and run through it with you guys, because I'm really hyped to go through it, because I love it. I'm really into Thanos Destroy decks, and I've been destroying ladder and conquest with it. So let's get into a deck breakdown. So if you're unfamiliar with a Thanos Destroy deck, Thanos, you got all the stones that you can play, but that can clog up your board. So that's why it's always a good pairing to have Killmonger in your deck, just to free up space, and it's only a 3-cost card, can get rid of a lot of your stones, and you've got those stones into play, which means you've been able to draw your other cards, and it works really well. However, if you're not drawing Killmonger, you also have two other cards in your deck that can get rid of these cards. One being Carnage. Carnage is a great card. Destroy your other cards here, plus two power for each destroyed card. So if you play that in a lane that's already got three one cost stones, you're going to be getting an 8-cost card that only costs 2, and the lane's now freed up so you can play more cards there. And you also have Venom. So Venom, just destroy the cards there. Whatever powers they had, it adds on to Venom's. So it's quite straightforward. However, that's not what these cards are just used for, is getting rid of stones. These cards are also going to be used for destroying the Muramasa Shard. Muramasa Shard will double Dakon's power, so a lot of time it will go to 8. However, again, I've just said however like 4 times in a row, that's not the only thing that we can do with these destroyed cards, because we have Phoenix Force. Phoenix Force is such a solid card for being a 4/5. You can revive and merge with any of the destroyed cards. So you talk about any of your stones could come back, such as like the Power Stone. You could get the Muramasa Shard again. And imagine if you, let's say you play Dakon, next round you play Muramasa Shard and Carnage, and then you play Phoenix Force, and it gets the Muramasa Shard back, and then you Venom the Phoenix Force. So you're just getting like an even higher powered Dakon, and your Venom's just building up power as well. So that can work perfectly. The other cards that you see in this deck, we have Spider-Ham. Spider-Ham's a very, just a very good card. I preferred it when it was a 1-cost, because feel like 2's, I mean, it's kind of tough. But I guess at least you get to see which card has been hitting your opponent's hand, and it's just a very, very good disruptive card to have in your deck. Jeff, the most flexible card in the game, probably one of the best cards in the game. You can move this anywhere, play it anywhere. Just love it. You just can't beat Jeff. If you don't have Jeff, then I hope you're blessed with getting him, because he just fits. He fits into every deck. It's crazy. As I said, Killmonger's to free up space on the board, and it's good for mirror decks and just destroying them as well. Venom, as I've gone into, destroy other cards at these locations. Dakon, as I've said, been a big card in the meta, for just being able to get really high powers with him. Shang-Chi is there as one of the best tech cards in the game, of being able to destroy any of your opponent's high cost cards from 9 or above. It's always good to have that and whip it out. Potentially, final round if you want to play that and Jeff somewhere. Phoenix Force, I've already gone over. Iron Lad, though, is a very good card. Copy the text of the top card in your deck. So you could really hit anything, and it would work perfectly. You could hit Shang-Chi, it's like, okay, Venom, you're then getting like you're getting a Venom that's got 6 power. You get Carnage, that's fine, but I mean, you could also hit Phoenix Force with it, and you can move Iron Lad every round with whatever it's been picked up. So yeah, I mean, it works really well. And also going back onto Killmonger and all of these destroy cards, the more cards you're destroying, the cheaper your death's going to be. So you should be hopefully getting to like round 6 and having a really cheap death that you can play with a different card on turn 6. And if you're not doing that, then that's when you can play Thanos. So if you do have the Power Stone in play and you've played all your cards, you've then got a 20 powered Thanos that's just going to, most of the time, dominate one lane. So if you're wondering to yourself, Aaron, there's a card missing from this deck. What card is it? Well, this card originally had Legion, and I don't own Legion. And I feel like Legion could be very good for this deck, with just being able to, disrupt your opponent being able to play any cards. Because let's say if you play Reality Stone, and you get like a location that really affects your opponent, you could then whack Legion in it and change the location again. But the card that I'm going to be putting in this deck is a brand new card to the game. The card is in fact X23. So when this is discarded or destroyed, regenerate it at a random location and you get +1 energy next turn. So this is a solid 1-cost 2-powered card, and especially when it's paired up in a deck that you see on the screen that has Killmonger that can destroy this card, Venom can destroy it, Carnage can destroy it, it's an all round really good card. And you got to think about when this is discarded, when this is discarded or destroyed, regenerate it at a random location, and you get +1. So you can play X23. Next round, play Carnage in that lane. So then you can play a 4 on a 4 cost card on a free round. Or you could play Venom on the X23 round and then play like a 1 cost stone. Then the round after you'll be able to play 6. So the more you destroy this card, like if you destroy this card each round, you're going to be starting at your next round with an extra energy, and it's going to work really well. It also says when this is discarded or destroyed, regenerate it at a random location and you get +1. So if you can somehow fill a lane, destroy this card with like, if you can somehow afford to destroy this card and then destroy it again in the same round, maybe you'll be able to get 2 plus energy extra that next round. So it's a very interesting thing to try. I'm not too sure how it's going to work, but I think it's going to slot into this deck perfectly, with just giving you that extra little 1 cost energy that you can use to play a stone or play the Mirror Master Shard, and I think it'll work out really well. So yeah guys, those are the lanes you're going to be going for. If you enjoyed this video, as I said, please subscribe to the channel. Snap Judgments is a great channel, and Glazer really would appreciate your support. If you enjoyed this video from me and you want to see more and you want to see some actual gameplay coming from me instead of me just talking, then please go ahead and go and check out my channel as Snap. Like I said, I'll leave it in the description, or I'll leave a comment on the video so you can find me. And yeah. Guys, I really hope you have enjoyed it. Please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.